Ladies and gentlemen, Pitt fans all over, you're going to be proud this season. You're going to be very, very proud of this Pitt basketball team. Went to the exhibition yesterday against Edinburgh, and I have to say, the moves that was made in the offseason make a lot of sense, a whole lot of sense when you look at it on the floor. So let's get into it.
Pittsburgh beats the press. Oh, my God. Page goes up and over. Boom, Jay, boom, Jay. Talk about it.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this to all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Checks big and I'm sure that hurts. But it's checkmate, we ain't selling short, know the work. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind. Cause I be on the work.
Yeah. So check this out. I'm excited. I don't care what anybody got to say. I think that these moves and this team is definitely going to be middle of the pack in the ACC. I predict that they will have their ups and downs, but I like what Coach Capel and his staff has done here. First thing first, when Big John come back, it's just going to add another element. So without even talking about the players we already know about, because the only thing I was thinking last night while watching this game was, obviously you're going to get the shots that you're looking for when you're better than the competition. But are you going to be able to do that against the teams that can compete with you? And that's where I feel like Big John come into play, because you could just throw that thing into the post and let him go to work, and it's going to be a chore, with him. It's a chore to just deal with a big body who has good footwork and things of that nature. So when I look at a guy like Henson, who's a legit stretch four and can knock that thing down, he got a clip out here. Okay, so even on paper, I'm looking and it's like, okay, yeah, I see he was definitely trying to bring some boys in that can shoot. You know what I'm saying? Because the guys that he brought in between Henson and Elliott the third, on paper, it's like, okay, he went and got some boys that got a clip with him. So, but it is what it is. So I'm really excited because, when you have, a team that's pretty brand new, what I'm saying? No matter how you get the players, whether it's through the portal or through recruiting or freshmen, the number one thing on your mind is how do they gel? And how this team play and how they seem to share the basketball and look unselfish and make the right basketball plays. It just don't look like they really have a team of egos. You know what I'm saying? And, unfortunately, I think teams in the past may have had a guy or two that was really pressed to get their numbers. And you can just tell, and it has an effect on the team. That's one. Number two, I feel like a guy like Jeffers, just to touch on him again real quick, the guys who didn't play, I feel like now with this new rotation of guys, we're not going to put such an emphasis on his ability to score. Now he could just go out there and do the things that he do well when he come back, which is rebound the basketball and defend. So he could just be comfortable in his role, because Burton is a guy who can get to the basket, who got a nice mid-range game and is a solid offensive player. Cummings, who we just brought in, is another guy who can shoot that thing and create off the dribble. Elliott is a guy who can shoot the basketball. Sabandi is a guy who can score. So, I mean, that's four guys I just named right there, in the back court. And you throw Jeffers in that rotation, Santos, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's a solid rotation of guys, and it's just a matter of who has the hot hand, or, from a personnel standpoint, what do you need in regards to schematics and things like that. I like what I see. So then, to look at the front court, let's exclude John. We know what Big John can do. You bring in the two twins who has a lot of length, and he had the three Federico out there with the two of them at one point late in the game yesterday. And the main thing, that's when it was really interesting to me, because I want to see how these big guys going to be, how they're going to look having Tagart out on the wing. And they look comfortable. They could run the floor. They look like they belong out there, like it's not being forced. You know what I'm saying? So even defensively, Federico, he in both of the exhibition games in 20 minutes got a double-double, 10 and 10. So he's a presence on a glass at the very least. But rebounding is key. We all know that. So you got to think. You got, Big John. You got the Twin Towers down there. You have Federico. You have Henson now. Okay, so that's a 4-man rotation. Am I missing anybody? Let me look and see if I'm missing. I don't want to miss anybody. No, in regards to the bigs, that's pretty much it. So I think, we're getting Big John. He would definitely get the bulk of the minutes, and then rotating the younger guys and the new guys in. I think that our front court is even solid. I definitely think the underrated portion of this is that what might shock people is going to be our shooting. I think this team is really going to be able to shoot the ball, and it's just a matter of them really finding their identity. And getting it. But early, obviously, I'm not going to jump out the window. It's Clarion and Edinburgh, so I understand that the competition is going to get a lot better, a lot bigger, a lot faster than these teams. But to have a crew of guys brand spanking new for the most part, and then the guys returning, I just feel like he brought guys that complemented. Burton, I think, is better going to the basket and when he's creating, and he's unselfish. He's going to kick that thing out. And, last year he was kicking that thing out and it was clank. You know what I'm saying? Now, he kicking that to Elliott the third or Henson, that thing is going to drop. We don't even know, how John's jump shot may have improved from last year to this year. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's surrounded by a cast of players that better support his style. And then Cummings also, that was another thing. I think Burton is a really good point guard, but I don't think he's a true point guard. I think Cummings is more of a true point guard. So you definitely you will find a team that don't have a true struggle because they don't have that guy that can just break you down off the dribble. It would just be too much responsibility for those guys who are not really trues. And I think that's where Cummings come into play. So it's almost as if, he sat back and was like, okay, Big John, we could throw it to him. He can create mismatches and kick it out for threes and things of that nature. Burton can do his thing off the dribble. Sabandi is coming back, from an injury last year. And it's almost like we need to plug these pieces in. We need to get some size down low, some rebounding, some guys that can protect the basket. It all makes sense. When you see it now, it's going to look like, he really was like, we got to put these pieces here, which what any coach would know how to do. You know what I'm saying? He obviously know what he needed to get rid of and what he needed to, the changes he needed to make. So, yeah, I'm really excited. And I think and listen, I know this is a sidebar. I feel like just their energy, even on the bench. I'm sitting next to my wife. She was like, Coach Capel looked good. Like, it looked like he lost a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, because, I felt the same thing. I just didn't want to say anything. But I think it rubs off when you start at the top. He looked like he getting himself in shape and stuff. They look like they just carrying an energy, like a positive energy with them, where this team don't look like it was really just a symbol. You know what I'm saying? They look like they having fun, that they on a mission, and that they had a good off season, so I'm excited to see what this is going to look like. Early on, obviously we got the backyard brawl coming up, and, then it's ACC, play a B here, Michigan and Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get to see what this team is really about early on with some of the competition, to get them ready for the ACC. And, hopefully they just continue to get better and better as the season go on and get more comfortable in their roles, and play as a unit. But, come out and support the guys, because I think you would really just enjoy how unselfish they play if they continue to play that way. and support each other. You could just tell that they support each other and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They look like a unit. I think you will really be surprised if you jumped off the bandwagon. If you ain't jump off, I ain't talking to you. But for everybody that, you know how it is, we get down sometimes and wanna throw them away so quick. Before you do it, I'm just asking to give them a legitimate chance. You know what I'm saying? And you might like what you see. All right, but I'm very excited. I'll be at the game on Monday. You know, come holla at me. And until next time, Hell to Pitt.